All right, this is your semester 1 final review. This is due the day of your final. It will be counted in the grade book. You need to have at least 80% of this done, if not more, to get the points. And it's either all points or no points. So let's go ahead and get started with the first one. We're going to be working with different functions. We're going to be evaluating, which just means once I recognize which function I need to use, I'll take the number that's in parentheses, which represents x, and put it in there. So first thing I want to do, because I did not mean for this to be such a big number, we're going to make one quick change on p of x. Can you change that 5 to a squared? Okay? All right, let's go with the first one. So on f, or number 1, we're using f, so we're going to be using this function, and I'm just going to take this x right here and replace it with the negative 5. And I follow my order of operations. So in order of operations, we don't have absolute value bars, but they're similar to parentheses in the fact that I want to do what's in the parentheses first. So I'm going to take negative 5 plus 3, which leaves me at the negative 2. And I do not distribute the 2 in. The absolute value bars say I take whatever's inside those bars and turn it into a positive number. So now it's 2 times a positive 2. And from here I can multiply, and then 4 take away 4, I get 0 as my answer. So my function f, if x is negative 5, gives me 0 as my answer. If we look at the next function, or problem 2, we're supposed to use p, which we did make the change to. So this x right now is going to get that negative 64. All right, so from here, parentheses, there's just a number in the parentheses. So, and it's just doing that to make sure you realize it's a negative 64. So otherwise what I'm going to do is take negative 64 in parentheses, and I'm going to square it. So I'm not going to show my calculator here, but I am taking negative 64 in parentheses and squaring it. And that turns into a negative 2 multiplying 4,096. And now I'm going to take 4,096 times negative 2, and my function, p of negative 64, would give me an answer of negative 8,192. All right, 3. So on 3, we've got h of negative 2, so I'm going to be using this middle one. I just have to figure out which equation to use. So, and that's going to be determined by this. So negative 2 is less than 3. So I'm going to go to the top function, and in that x, I'm going to put my negative 2. And then order of operations say I should multiply first. So that gives me a positive 4. Take away 1, I'm left with 3. So my function h, if I make x become negative 2, gives me an answer of 3. So let's underline our answer so far. And 4, I'm going to go to n's function. Oops, and where there's that x, I'm going to put a negative 10 in. All right, order of operations, I will do what's in parentheses first. So negative 10, take away 4, gives me negative 14. Then I do my exponent, so in parentheses, I will take negative 14 and square it in parentheses, and that gives me 196. And now I'm going to multiply, which gives me negative 392, and then once I subtract 2 from there, my function, n, if I make x become negative 10, gives me an answer of negative 394. Oops. Sorry, I'm just boxing these in. All right. All right, let's go to 5. So 5 is using k's function. K is the top right one. So that x right there is going to become a 0. And again, order of operations, I'm going to do my parentheses first. So 0 plus 1 is 1. Then I'll be taking the 1 in parentheses and cubing it, which just gives me 1 again. From there, I'm going to multiply negative half times 1 as well, just negative half. And if I have negative half and take away 4, now I'm at negative 4.5. So my function k, if x is 0, becomes negative 4.5. And my last one, q of 9. So that's the only one I haven't highlighted, so I'm going to go to q's function, and I'm going to put 9 in. Here's another absolute value problem. So starting in the absolute value bars, 9 take away 4 is 5. If I take the absolute value of 5, I still have 5. And now I'll do half of 5 multiplying first, which is just 2.5. And if I add 2 to 2.5, my function q, if I make the x become 9, gives me an answer of 4.5. Okay, so the next part is going to be some graphing problems. You will be provided your toolkit by me for the final. And so I don't have a lot of room to write here, so I'm going to be finding some places that you might not just have on your paper. So you can always get another piece of paper. My first shape is absolute value. That means for the x's, I will be using these. And when I take the absolute value of all of these numbers, they all turn positive. And I'm going to look at my transformation. So I will have a stretch of 2, which means all of these y's will now be doubled. So everything in here is about to be multiplied by 2. And then I'll have a left 3 and down 4. So let's go ahead and take all of these and multiply them by 2. So I get 4, I get 2, 0, 2, and 4 again. So the first point I always suggest you start with in the whole graphing thing is the 0, 0. So I start with 0, 0, and 0, 0 goes left 3 down 4 and ends up right there. That pink point is now going to be my starting point when I move the others. So I will go with the negative 2, 4 now. So for my pink point, I'm going to go left 2 up 4. And then I'll do the negative 1, 2. So for my pink point, I'll go left 1 up 2. And then I'll just do the same for here. I'll go right 1 up 2. And then for my last point, I'll go right 2 up 4. And I end up with a V shape that looks like this. All right, next one. So let's see, just finding a creative place to write because I just don't have that much room. I'll be going over here. So for cubed, I still use the same. Let's see, how far over can I get? Okay. I still use the same x values. So negative 2, negative 1, 0, 1, and 2. But for my x cubed, I get negative 8, negative 1, 0, 1, and 8. So now when I look at my transformations, I will have a flip, a compress, which will affect all of these y's. So I'm going to multiply all of these y's by negative half. So negative half times negative half, all of them times negative half. All right, so this is going to become a 4. This will become a half. I'm going to put a decimal. 0, negative half, and negative 4. Sorry, I realize that's really small, but that's okay. The other things that are going to happen is we will go left 1, down 4. So another down 4. So again, my recommendation is start with your 0, 0 and take that point and go left 1, down 4, and then go with the other point. So if I will, from that pink point, go left 2, up 4. So left 2, up 4. And then I'm going to go left 1, up about a half. Maybe right there. I meant to do that in a different color, like right there. And then I'll go, let's see, right 1, down half. pop there. And then finally, I will go right 2, down 4. So right 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then the shape is that kind of curvy line. All right, next one is a squared. So as far as my points go, here are my x's. Not a squished over here. And my y's will come from the fact that I'm going to square all of these numbers, which turns everything to positive if it's not. Excuse me. So as far as my transformations, I'm going to have a flip and a stretch. So all of these are about to be multiplied by -2. So I get -8. I get -2. I still get 0. I get -2. And I get -8. And then these are all done. All right, I will also be having a right 3. But now it's going to be moving up 4. So starting with my 0, 0, this is going to be a U shape when we're done. I'm going to go right 3, up 4. All right, from there, I'm going to take my -2, -8 point. So from my pink point, I will go left 2, down 8. Then I'll take from the pink point and go left 1, down 2. And then I will go right 1, down 2. Okay, I want to make these all green. And then finally, I will go right 2, down 8, all from the pink point. So I end up right there, and then I will make a U shape. All right, that is the first page. I'm going to stop the video there, and then you guys can pick up with the second video, starting with the next page.